Thanks for joining our monthly community webcast. I'm Jürgen Kress, responsible for the PaaS partner adoption at Oracle. In case you missed one of our webcasts, on-demand recordings are available. For details, please see our monthly community newsletter. In today's presentation, Neil Kominski will give us an update on human capital management integration. Good afternoon, Neil, and welcome to our webcast.
Thank you, Jürgen. Thank you. Great to be here.
Please feel free to post your questions via the conference chat or Twitter #PaaSCommunity. At the end of the webcast, we will answer your questions. Slides are available at the community workspace. Please do tweet and blog about products and services which are available today. Please do not blog about roadmap and future service. Objective of the call today is to give you an update on how to integrate human capital management. SaaS solutions like HCM, ERP, and CX need to be connected with each other and on-premise applications. HCM use cases include integration of a Taleo recruitment solution to core HCM systems or payment systems or your monthly salary or time tracking. For today's agenda, I will start with a brief community update and hand over to Neil for the detailed presentation on HCM. We will answer your questions at the end of the webcast. In case you are not yet a member in the PaaS partner communities, please make sure to register now to receive our monthly update, all the marketing material, sales kits, and training material. For registration, please visit tinyurl.com/oracleic. We would like to encourage you to try out the Oracle Cloud Platform. You can try both the platform and the SaaS services. For the Oracle Cloud Platform, which includes infrastructure and platform services, please visit cloud.oracle.com/try it. You can get an always free account and $300 credits for PaaS services on top of it, including Integration Cloud. If you would like to use Oracle integration, you need to raise an SR at the moment. To access Oracle SaaS solutions like CX, ERP, and HCM, please visit demo.oracle.com. There you can get shared environments immediately to play around and get familiar, and for customer presentations, dedicated environments for up to 5 days. For details, visit demo.oracle.com. We would like to invite you to visit and attend our upcoming hands-on trainings for both for SaaS integration and our chatbot solution, Oracle Digital Assistant. Oracle Digital Assistant, the chatbot solution, is a key feature to innovate SaaS solutions like HCM, CX, and ERP Cloud. In CX, for example, you can offload workload from a Service Cloud environment to a chatbot. In HCM, you can, for example, ask your chatbot how much holiday you have or what company benefits you get. We would like to invite SaaS consultants and mobile experts to attend a free 2-day hands-on workshop. Schedules include Utrecht in March, Reston in the US in March, Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, middle of March, Sao Paulo in Brazil, and for India, we offer Delhi and Mumbai. Please visit tinyurl.com/Oracle Chatbot Kit. We will announce additional locations via the community newsletter. We also offer hands-on workshops, 3-day workshops to integrate and innovate Oracle SaaS solutions like HCM. We offer a 3-day free hands-on training for SaaS consultants and integration experts. Location includes Dallas in the US, Bangalore in India, and we offer 2 virtual trainings for India in April and for European time zone in May. And then we offer in April a hands-on workshop at Oracle headquarters in San Francisco. For registration and details, please visit tinyurl.com/integrate SaaS. Also here, we announce regular new locations via the community newsletter. If you have questions, if you would like to get our support, if you would like to get the latest updates, we now Oracle offer a Slack channel for you as a partner. You can join the Slack channel at tinyurl.com/askoic. With that short introduction, I would like to hand over to you, Neil. Neil, thank you, and thanks for joining our webcast.
Thank you, everybody, and good afternoon. It's a Graupel shower, as they would say in German, so the weather is not very nice, so it's good to be inside listening to me talking about HCM. Why not? Why not? So,
will we see also a live demo?
No, we'll show it in OIC as well. Yeah, of course we will.
That's cool. Thank you.
Before we actually go into this here, and this is a very, very simple thing here. It's more focused on, say, functional people, but I think just as a quick intro to HCM integration. Now, for those who don't know me, I am the product management lead for Oracle integration in EMEA. Work very closely with the team in headquarters, our inbound team and our engineering, of course. And I've been focused really on OIC for Oracle SaaS over the last while there, because it is a huge value add to our SaaS offerings. And if we're looking at HCM here now, somebody buys HCM, it's going to be part of an ecosystem. And that ecosystem will include things like a corporate directory, corporate procurement, timekeeping, learning apps, payroll, employee benefits, etc., etc. So I think the average HCM app has to integrate with up to 30 other systems. So integration is not just a nice thing, it's a must, and it's something that we should be talking about when, closing these SaaS deals. So typical integration requirements: employee onboarding. For example, okay, you're onboarded, you have to get a corporate email, you have to get a laptop, you have to get put into the corporate directory, you have to get assigned this, you have to get assigned that. Of course, we have then things like employee offboarding. You've got to return the laptop the company give you. And it could be a case the manager needs to create a new requisition in recruitment for that job opening. Other typical requirements in respect of payroll: transferring BACS files to banks to make sure the employees get paid, accepting output from third-party payroll providers, payslips, etc. Processing involuntary deductions, for example, alimony, child support, and things like this. And of course, a typical use case we have with many customers is fusion HCM to payroll on-premise on eBusiness Suite. So, same thing happens with benefits providers. Now, these could be somebody like Kaiser in the US or Bupa in the UK, healthcare providers. There's also pension schemes, company cars, etc. And typical other integration requirements will be in data synchronization. So it could be a case that your HCM is not the single source of truth for employees, that there is a company directory that one needs to keep in sync. For example, I have a customer who was using, getting employee and organization master data from SAP, and that had to be put into HCM. Another common set of requirements in the area of recruitment. So recruitment isn't just kind of hiring new folks and processing those new hires into HCM. It could also involve pushing existing employee data to your recruitment app, for example, Taleo, as hiring managers, for example. So it can be, not just the job postings, hiring managers, that's kind of pushing data there, and of course pulling data from the recruitment on successful hiring, kicking off an onboarding process into HCM, or of course things like integration with third parties for recruitment, like doing reference checks, that sort of stuff. And another common use case could be matching profiles, the job request profile with existing employees. So that's that'd be your HCM pushing data to recruitment in that respect as well. The time and absence management, of course, Kronos is a big provider in this space. So real-time and batch interface, blocking out could be a case. And there's other workforce scheduling apps out there that are very popular: JDA, RotaGeek, Kronos, and so on. And getting that information into time and labor or into your payroll module. Same sort of thing, learning management. You may have third-party solutions there from an external vendor, and you need to integrate with them as well. So some other things that we hear from HR folks are, our recruit-to-hire process is too slow and error-prone due to many manual steps. So intelligent process automation is called for here. Or we need our modern and legacy HR to work together seamlessly to engage employees. So here we have maybe a coexistence scenario. Maybe HCM in the cloud for some modules and maybe PeopleSoft on-premise. Or worst thing that can happen, of course, providing inaccurate and delayed payroll data to the general ledger. Or the general thing, we don't have a complete visibility of our workforce. So the end-to-end business processes that we've seen can involve, of course, many different apps. Some of these from Oracle, some of these not from Oracle, of course, in many different kind of use cases here that could be part of a generic recruit-to-pay business process. We see the different steps along the way, integrating with different apps, these stovepipe apps, and of course, getting business analytics on each of these things, finding out where are the bottlenecks, and providing information to HR, business folks, user dashboards, showing them, giving them salient information on the progress through these different processes. So of course, connecting HCM with ease, Oracle HCM, of course, is the best that there is, and Oracle integration is the best integration platform for HCM. Of course, we've a full set of adapters that you will we'll be looking at as well, pre-built recipes. So that means the quickest integration is the one that you don't have to create yourself. End-to-end automation, intelligent process automation, and of course this insight capability, providing business user-facing dashboards of your business processes and your integrations. Net, up to 6 times faster onboarding of Saas. Because Saas is not just installing or configuring HCM for your customer, it's of course creating all of the integrations that customer requires, plugging it into the existing ecosystem. So if we look at the product, we see we've got it as a toolkit with four tools here. So application integration, that's essentially app to app, machine to machine integration. Process automation. Maybe this is intelligent process automation, extending SaaS apps. Your HCM app does 90% of what you want, but that's missing 10%. How are you going to implement that? There may be some human workflows missing. You want to add a couple of levels of approvals. You can do that, of course, with our process automation component here. Now you see within the process automation component, you see this little icon of a robot there. It's just alluding to the fact that we support, of course, RPA. We support the leading RPA vendors, UiPath, Automation Anywhere, and soon as well, Blue Prism. So, integration insight. I've mentioned this already. We'll have a slide then later on that kind of just shows you a bit more of what that offers us in a HCM context. And of course, our web and mobile channel development with Visual Builder. So Visual Builder allows us to create native mobile apps for iOS and Android, as well as web apps. And of course, it has out-of-the-box integration with our integration components here. It can sit on top, for example, of your HCM REST APIs and create net new apps on top of HCM. So when we look at this thing here with Oracle integration, we're looking at a toolkit that does the basic plumbing here, but also allows us to extend the apps here. It gives us insight into what's going on here. So for business users, your HCM managers, they can get business user insight into what's going on here. And finally, it's the basis for innovation. Now, creating net new apps on top of your HCM, for example. Now, these net new apps can be created with Visual Builder. Of course, we could as well leverage Oracle integration from ODA, Oracle Digital Assistant. So you could have your chatbots using this platform to interface with your HCM, providing yet another channel for your employees, for example. On the right-hand side here, we see our API management story, which of course, very, very important. Many APIs will be exposed from these different components here, and we want to control who is going to be using those APIs. Now, our API management story is not just about API governance, it also includes design, API design with our apiary component. So we can design the API that a mobile developer will want to use to create a new app on top of HCM. We can implement that API, for example, here as an integration. And then, of course, we can govern access to it via the API gateways, which are part of our API management story as well here. So just to give you an example here of, okay, what does an integration look like, an HCM integration look like in OIC? So here's a very simple one where I'm importing employees. So of course, I'm going to import employees. They're going to be put into a format which is called HDL, and then we're going to kick off an import and load data job on HCM itself. So when we're looking at integration with HCM, we will see in the next couple of slides or in the next deck We have the concept of file-based data integration, bulk load, bulk extract, and of course, real-time integrations via REST, SOAP APIs, as well as support for eventing via Atom feeds. So something has happened in HCM. I want to get all of my new employees, or I want to get all of the job changes that we've had. You can subscribe to those events via Atom feed. Now, the big value add, of course, with OIC is the fact that our adapters, because you could, of course, do all of this stuff yourself. You could code all of this in Java or whatever you want, but you would have to know those APIs. You'd have to read up about them, skill up, and you would have to maintain that code that uses the APIs. And of course, there are literally hundreds of thousands of those APIs out there. So what we do is we provide you these pre-built adapters. So user-facing wizard on top of your HCM APIs, your Fusion ERP APIs, and so on and so on. So the whole idea here is this makes it very, very easy to plug your HCM cloud into your ERP cloud, or to connect your HCM to your e-business suite for that payroll, on-prem payroll example. You see here we've got CX adapters, we've got our technology adapters here. So if you want to integrate with an application for which we don't have an adapter, you can look at using the technology adapters like the REST adapter, the SOAP adapter, FTP file, etc., etc. You see our support here for the RPA connectivity with UiPath, Automation Anywhere. And as I mentioned, Blue Prism will be joining that soon. On the other side here, we see the productivity and social connectivity adapters. Things like maybe, LinkedIn. Now, I was looking at this and I was saying, what sort of use case could I have here? Well, it could be a case, advertising jobs on LinkedIn. We see other things here like the Facebook adapter, Dropbox, DocuSign, etc., etc. The net is these adapters are being added to every month. So with each release of OIC, you will be getting new adapters. And for example, we have a Shopify adapter, the Box adapter, Amazon Marketplace adapter. A lot of these adapters coming online very quickly. And ADP adapter for payroll, very, very interesting. The HCM context is also going to be available very soon. What is the story about the adapter? Like, what does it provide us? Okay, real-time APIs through REST. The SOAP APIs are still available there, but we're not recommending them because they are getting deprecated. And of course, we can do bulk data extract and bulk data loading. Now, the bulk data loading now is also green. This screenshot hasn't been updated yet, or this slide hasn't been updated yet. So you can all do that today through the HCM adapter. And of course, event support, pull model through the HCM cloud adapter. So this is just going to give you an idea of what this actually looks like. So if I'm subscribing to updates via the Atom feed, what do I have there? Okay, I see these Atom feeds here. These are the I think there's nine things here that I can, or 9 feeds that I can subscribe to. Now, this is a big difference when you look at Fusion ERP. Fusion ERP has business events, and I think there's 170 of them or whatever. But within HCM, these are the 9 that you can subscribe to. So, of course, a typical example would be employee new hire. Give me those new employees. I need to put them into the payroll system, or I need to put them to some other downstream system. Very, very simple to subscribe to those, loop over each of those new employees, do whatever has to be done, send them on to the target system. We also have here the services here that we're looking at here: query, create, update, or delete information. So you have access to the services here, to the bulk, to the REST APIs as well here that you can use. And these are the ones that I've favored going forward. Okay. Look here, extracting bulk data. So, okay, there's a report in HCM that generates data, or generates a report for me, and I want to pull that report data and push it to a downstream system. So very, very simple. All I got to do is which extract do I want to have, and decrypt the extract, unzip the extract, then I have access to the raw data. I can process it and send it to downstream system. One of the big value adds, of course, in OIC is the new mapper. And the new mapper allows us to map on different levels. Now, this is something that's very, very important because most of the work that you will be doing is in the mapper. So if I go into here my OIC environments, and I like showing stuff, first thing I'm going to do is let's go into this environment here. First thing I want to show you is OIC, the new file server here. This is also very, very interesting from a HCM perspective because you can well imagine you could run a job in HCM and target it that it writes the output to this embedded SFTP server that we will be shipping with OIC from May onwards. So here is the SFTP server. Here I can create my users. For example, I go in here with an IALL, and like this is a early adopter version of this, so there will be some slight changes before we go there, before it goes GA. But you can see here, this is my user, this is my default folder, and if I go in here, you will see my folders and so on here. So again, this is there's my HCM stuff there, my current folder, HCM. So very, very useful functionality going forward. So now if we go back up here into the integrations themselves, and let's go in here into the integrations. You will see here, I've got a demo HCM subscribing for new workers. I click on this guy here. And here we are inside. And first thing we're going to look at is the new mapper here, because as I say, most of your work will be done within the mapper. So it's very important that you see exactly what's available for you here. So I'll just show this here for a moment, just to show you. Wait there, that's a very base. Let's go to this one here. It's a bit more meat in this here. So you will see here in this new mapper, you've got the basics here where you drag and drop from the source side over to the target side. Very, very simple there. Now the next level down is to apply functions here. For example, I've got to concatenate two fields from this side into one field over here. I can go in here and I can use the concat function for that. Now, of course, there's many other functions inside there that we can look at or that you can leverage as well. So that's the second level of mapping. The third level of mapping is the advanced, where we can actually go in here and we will see here, for example, conditional mappings. Now, this is something that could be very important in a benefit scenario in HCM. For example, only children under 18 are included in medical insurance for employees, or if they're over 18, they have to be a student. And that's the sort of thing I can map with this if, otherwise, with these constructs here as well. So that's the three levels that we have here. Of course, within that, we can test these mappings to make sure that they're giving us the output that we require. And you can see here, that's just showing you it's generated the new employee there. And then I execute and I see my output here, which are the fields that I require. Exactly. Looks very good. Perfect. We've also got here visual of the actual code. So you'll be able to visualize you see the actual code here. And there are plans to make this editable. So if somebody is really an XSLT guru, they can actually go in and edit it themselves. Currently, it's just read only. As you say, you can't change anything here. But the idea is going forward, maybe to make that possible for people to edit it. Now, the recommendations engine. When we look at the recommendations engine, our best recommendations have been accepted. So like this is also something that's very nice. And you can see the strength of those recommendations. So the idea is these are crowdsourced recommendations. And of course, the strength will be applied based on how many people have actually mapped this field to that field and so on. And of course, very simply, you can apply those recommendations and all. So this is very, very useful when you're doing complex, when you've got large data structures on both sides and you have to map many fields. Start off with the recommendations. You have the first draft. You can, of course, go in and change everything in there yourself and amend to suit your needs. Okay. So that's just an example there. Now, just some other things that are of interest here for you folks going forward. Within OIC itself here, as you can see, we have many different actions that you can use to orchestrate this integration here. Assign is very simple, assigning variables. Data stitch is a new functionality that we've released to incrementally build a message payload from one or more existing payloads by using assign, append, and remove operations. Net, it allows us to create complex variables. Up until now, the variables in OIC have been kind of primitive like string and so on, but now we can actually use data stitch to do more complex mappings there. Now for all of these things here, if you go to my blog, you will see I have posts on those ones there. Let me go in here just to show you this on posts on data stitch, where I go in there. Now the data stitch feature is there, it's there, view that's there. It goes in detail on this data stitch. It's a flag that you can get active in activate in your OIC environments via a service request there. Very, very similar to what functionality that we've had in on-prem people. But as an example there, just to show you what's there. And again, Neil C, blogs.blogspot.com. So I'm going back into this environment here again. You see as well mapping, of course, mapping source to target, stage file, a super stage file adapter, where you will see here great deal of functionality available to you. And of course, this is very important, especially in HCM or ERP use cases where maybe 80% of your work will be file-based. So you need very, very complex and comprehensive file processing capabilities, and that's what we give you in OIC. Looking a bit further down here, you will see, okay, integration calling into integration. An integration can call a business process, for example, for error handling, that somebody reviews the payload, fixes the payload, and resubmits the integration. You can, of course, as well embed JavaScript in your integrations as well. If you can write your JavaScript functions and then call them from your orchestration here. Okay, looping for each on while, switch is a decision gate, scope is a scope as in people, and so on. Notification, send emails, wait is, as it says, wait until a certain amount of time, then continue processing. So you have net a very, very rich design time here. We've also got complex fault handling via the scopes and also via the global fault handler here. So you can specify what should happen on business faults at scope level or at integration level using the global fault here. So that's just a simple example of showing you some of the things that we have there. So we can just discard that. So, of course, many of these integrations are already available on the Oracle Marketplace. So I have another deck that I'm going to go through as well where we would just list some of these. But the net is the use case that you have to implement, it could already be implemented. So the idea is check on the marketplace to see which recipes or business accelerators are already available and then leverage them as your starting point. Now going forward, we will embed this in OIC itself. So when you log into OIC, you will see a list of for example, all of the HCM integrations that have already been or that are available as recipes or business accelerators, and you can decide to use one of them, or else you go in and say, no, none of them suit my needs, and you can go in and create your own. So into intelligent process automation. So of course, the idea here is your machine-to-machine integration for processing new employees, but some other may say, I need to have an approval step for that. So of course, you can use our process automation component to do that. And once the employee has been approved, you can create that employee in your target HCM environment. Now, that's just an example of a customer here who uses something like that. So you could have, getting the event there and processing it, approving the request, moving one employee from one environment to another. Now, with integration insight, you're getting these business user-facing dashboards that answer the business users' questions. In a HCM environment, it might be, what's the average time for onboarding? Where are my bottlenecks there? How many people are still waiting to get their company laptop? Those sort of things. And we do that using integration insight milestones. So the milestones are something that are defined by the integration designer and the business user, or the owner, so to speak. And we define, okay, what's the starting point here? What's the finish point here? Okay, the starting point here is I've hired somebody. Hopefully the happy path will execute and the employee will be on board. But there are certain points along the way, like discrete points along the way, where I want to have a milestone identified, that I can get a handle to what's going on here. How long did it take to get the pending worker created? How many of them have been created? Then the next stage, the HR employee creation, setting up employees in Active Directory. How is that going? Do I have a bottleneck there? Providing them with email accounts, making sure that they're in e-business suite for payload or for payroll. And then, of course, these are some warning conditions. I want to know if these things are occurring, whatever. Then, of course, the idea here is in that I am feeding in data from my integrations and my business processes to these dashboards. And this data can be of type, dimension, or measure. So think of the dimensions of how I want to slice the data. So I might be slicing the data on employee type or on the business unit. You know, how many people have been brought into sales this week, or how many people have joined the marketing department, or for a particular reason. How many people have joined the DACH region this week, or how many people are joining UK and Ireland, or whatever. And then, of course, the measures, for example, doesn't really make much sense here, but a measure could be salary, something tangible or something measurable that you want to get some business intelligence on. So again, then Visual Builder. Visual Builder are low-code app development environment that you can sit on top of your Saas apps. So here I have created a very, very simple app, mobile app, that just lists employees. So I did this without any coding, just creating a connection to my Saas environment from Visual Builder through our integration component, and then just pulling in that information and rendering it here. Now, this is a low-code app development, which means for many simple use cases like these management apps, you can really just generate that stuff. You can go in, specify what you want to do. There's tutors within Visual Builder that'll create employee form for you, or an update employee form, a delete employee form, an edit employee form, etc., etc. And of course, you can have the Fusion apps look and feel if you want. So this is the great thing. You can create extensions to your Fusion apps, have the same look and feel, so that people who are using these, who are also Fusion apps users, they won't feel totally out of place. So that's just an example of what we have there. And of course, we are the best, as you know, for those things there. So one of the things, or a very good customer use case that we have for HCM is with the Co-op in the UK. So the Co-op in the UK, supermarket chain, among other things, and they had a very, very high turnover of staff. And so one of the issues that they have beyond that was the fact that it took a long time to hire new staff. And it took a long time for the store manager to actually create the requisition for that, or the job description, whatever, for that for that vacant slot, so to speak. And so the idea was we wanted to reduce the time to hire from 12.5 hours to 2.5, to make it very easy to raise a requisition. So a mobile app was created, and with this mobile app, the store manager could create a job requisition and get that posted to Taleo under the hood. As far as he's concerned, he's just entering that information. OIC picks up that information, puts it into Taleo, and quelle surprise, you have your job offer, you have your job requisition there. Now, of course, enhance attraction tools to reach a wider audience. So, of course, for the candidate to have an enhanced applicant experience, so to make them, to give them a much better experience when they're applying for jobs at the Co-op. The ability to search and apply online via multiple channels. Knowledge of what it means to work with a Co-op before applying. Now, these are all part and parcel of what was done there. Not all through OIC, of course, but OIC played a leading role in ensuring that this project was a success there. So the net is, of course, they reduced their time, 4 times faster hiring, time to hire by up to 5 times for applicants, and they have 5 times more applicants over 2,600 stores, and 98% of the job offers were accepted, which is very, very important as well. So they did a much better match for candidate to job there. So that was very, very interesting. Now, the questions for your customer to answer. If you're to a SaaS customer who's bought Fusion HCM and you've been asked to integrate there, well, of course, with how many apps will we need to integrate? And of course, how am I going to rapidly connect those my HCM to those cloud and on-premise apps? And of course, OIC is not just for cloud to cloud integration, it's also cloud to on-prem integration. We have a connectivity agent which you can install on-premise, which ensures we have secure communication between on-premise and the cloud. It's never the cloud calling OIC, cloud calling on-premise, it's always on-premise calling the cloud. Then what about extensions? So does your customer need extensions? And of course, as I said, the intelligent process automation component of OIC can be used for that. And digital innovation on top of my HCM APIs. How can I actually do that? If I want to create net new value add, for example, using Visual Builder for native mobile apps, or maybe using Digital Assistant and using the Oracle integration as a kind of a mobile backend as a service, so to speak, to get at that enterprise information. And of course, how do I get visibility of my business processes? So take an example where Fusion HCM to SAP integration. Does the business owner have to look and wait and log into SAP and hope things are there? Is that the only insight that they have? When the job is complete? No. With Oracle Insight, you will be able to see what's happened to your payload along that way through your business process, and you get that information in business user-facing dashboards, speaking the language that you speak. The official, I'm just looking now at the official presentation that we had. The official presentation essentially goes through very much of the same. Just showing all of the different benefits providers and so on that you could be dealing with. Now, many of these are US specific, but many of them are also available are used in EMEA as well. The typical integration points in HCM, we've covered many of these, but bulk import, exports, and of course, real-time access, real-time APIs as well. So of course, we have our REST APIs that I've mentioned already. The SOAP APIs are being deprecated, as I mentioned as well. So try and use the REST APIs for transactional. We've also got, of course, the Atom feeds that I've mentioned and I've shown to you. HCM data loader, getting data in. HCM extracts, getting data out. All of that is supported by our adapter there. So we've seen that slide before, we've seen that slide before, we've seen that slide before. Here we are, some of the integration recipes that are out there. Now again, many of these are US focused. For example, this benefits ANSI 834 export. This is exporting data from Oracle HCM clouds to a benefit provider. And this is the standard that they are using, these benefits providers. I don't know if this standard is used in EMEA as well, but it's certainly used in the US. And of course, this is a recipe that you have out of the box that you can use. Directory synchronization, that's also another typical use case. HCM isn't the source of truth for employee information. That is Microsoft Active Directory or Okta or whatever. So we have to synchronize the new employees from HCM to these different directories, for example. Integration with third-party payroll, such as ADP. The ADP adapter is in the works. That'll be used for that. New hire export to on-prem systems, for example. So take the new hires from HCM Cloud and put them into on-prem. It could be e-business suite, it could be SAP, whatever, So other things there, such as absence calendaring, Oracle HCM Cloud to Google Calendar. Take all of the absences that are upcoming in from HCM Cloud, put them into your Google Calendar, so make sure that they are synchronized. So we've gone through the different patterns, like we have the real-time HCL extract. Some of these ones here go into a bit more detail, and that's the reason why I didn't have them in the other deck. But essentially what we see here, we'll just go through this one here. We subscribe to the Atom feed in HCM. Okay, this has been published here. We've hired new people. We've published them to the new hire Atom feed. We're subscribing to that over here. We get that information. Now that information contains key information that we can use to retrieve more of the worker data. That's what we're doing here in this REST call here. We may also retrieve assignment information, work structure information. We take all of that information, transform that data into the format that the IDM system here requires, or our corporate directory, encrypt it, write it to the SFTP, and of course it's then pulled into the IDM system here. So the other slides go through these sort of things here, and this is just showing an example of what these import files look like. The net for all of you partners is, if you're hitting this HCM integration for the first time, Jürgen has a great workshop for this, great workshop material and labs that cover the main use cases for you. And it is a great help here. Now, there's just some other things that we're looking at here. This ANSI 834 file that I mentioned, this is the format that this has. So again, it is a world of its own. If you're new to it, make sure you attend one of Jürgen's boot camps for HCM integration, and of course get access to that material. There is also some use cases there with Oracle Talent Acquisition, and just going through these quickly because I want to get to the questions. I see we have many questions. There are the common use cases that we have here, of course. Okay, using Taleo for recruitment, pushing the successful candidates into HCM, and of course pushing hiring manager data and that sort of information, job requisitions from HCM into Taleo as well. So these are just some of the common use cases that we have here there, and it's just showing you, of course, the integration patterns that we have for that as well. So again, the presentation goes into a great deal of technical detail here, and goes through all of these things here, and it is very useful for you. Once you have got into this level, you're saying, now I actually have to do it. So with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start, okay, just one thing here, the fact with Workday. Workday is a very popular HCM system, and I've been to many customers in the last couple of months, and I was brought in there for HCM integration. And then I was quite surprised to hear it's not Oracle HCM, it's Workday. But of course, there's no big issue for us because we have a very comprehensive and function-rich Workday adapter as well. So I think the whole idea here is we talk about integration with HCM. We focus on Oracle HCM, but we can, of course, integrate with other HCM systems such as Workday. So we have examples for that as well that you can then use as well. That's just some screenshots of the Workday adapter there, showing you the functionality in there. And as you say, they have their own naming conventions or nomenclature, Workday Web Services, Reports as a Service, asynchronous reporting as a service, and so on. And they have what's known as an enterprise interface builder that you leverage there. So just net is we can work with any of your HCM apps out there. Naturally, we prefer Oracle HCM, but again, we have many customers with heterogeneous systems out there. So I just go through the questions here now. I'll just say, the 3 days free system, yes, they're free. Okay, let's go in here. I just see here. How do we have any integration? Yeah, yes, of course we do. So we have, this call was specific for HCM. I've got the exact same stuff for ERP and for CX. So if you folks are interested in that, I think, Jürgen, we can arrange calls on those topics as well. It's just a huge area that in the space of an hour, we can't cover all three. So there's integration workshops here. I'm just looking through, is there any other questions there that, where to register and get access? I think Jürgen has called that, talked about this. Today, we will see any implementing accelerator. Okay, these business accelerators, the way this works at the moment for you as Oracle partners, these business accelerators are being created for specific business use cases for specific apps. For example, Salesforce to NetSuite. Now, this is a suite sweet spot for us because of the fact that we, of course, own NetSuite. But we are implementing business accelerators for such use cases as opportunity to order between Salesforce and NetSuite. We have a set of accelerators there, what I think up to 8 use cases that have been implemented. We will be implementing other business accelerators for other use cases. And going forward, we will open this up to partners so that partners can create their own business accelerators. Now, this business accelerator, of course, is something that can be sold to a customer, or this business accelerator you could use as a marketing, to get the consulting gig afterwards there as well. So we see the free cloud trials. We've seen that. Thank you. Thanks, Kress. No, it's thanks, Jürgen, Kress. Do we have any on? Yeah. Okay, those are free access. It's all about free access to
Jürgen, hi Neil. I was on mute and I couldn't unmute myself. Thank you.
Okay.
So thanks for the excellent presentation. Thanks for the cool demo. Short call to action, and then we dive into the questions. So if you have questions, please feel free to post them in the chat.
Okay, good. Okay, so you do the call of action, and then we do the questions. Jürgen, thank you.
If you're not yet a member in the PaaS partner community, if you would like to get a link to all the on-demand recordings, if you would like to get an invite to our Integrate Saas trainings or chatbot for Saas trainings, please join the community at tinyurl.com/oracleic. If you have questions and need help, you can ask questions anytime via our Slack channel. The link is tinyurl.com/askoic. If you would like to learn more about integration for Saas, and we have an on-demand webcast as an overview for CX, ERP, and HCM integration, we have also published there all the hands-on trainings, which are free of charge for partners, 3 days, including HCM and ERP integration. Please visit tinyurl.com/integrate Saas. I also would like to point out the website. For integration, it's oracle.com/cloud/integration. And if you would like to try Oracle integration, please visit oracle.com/try it. You can apply for always free trial. You get $300 credit that you can use for PaaS service on top of the always free account. And to use Oracle integration, you need to raise a service request right now, as we have too many requests. If you have a custom opportunity, if you want to build a proof of concept, please send myself an email, and we can give you $500 credits, and we can activate your integration trial. If you have questions, please put them in the chat, and please contact your Oracle Partner Manager. Your Oracle Partner Manager can help you with free cloud trials. He can also help you to get support from Oracle local pre-sales. If you have questions, you can reach out to Neil or myself. So let's look into the questions. We have plenty of questions, and I was very busy answering them. First of all, Neil, does Oracle HCM Cloud support iframe integration?
Yes, just something else, guys, that you can actually see here. If you go to my blog as well, and if you go to HCM, there it is, HCM. The most recent post I've put in here covers all of the HCM from an integration perspective, and it goes into the spreadsheet loader, which is one way of getting data into HCM from business folks, to all that we've talked about already here. But one of the things here is deep linking, and deep linking allows me to look down here with deep linking. It allows me to do exactly that. Initiate actions in HCM Cloud from external apps. Easy navigation to a page in HCM from your own app. So there's loads of deep links that you could use for that as well. Now, of course, you can, extend HCM apps with processes using iframes and all of that stuff as well. But deep linking is also very interesting in that respect. Okay, next question, please.
Cool. Is PeopleSoft Adapter available?
Okay, now the PeopleSoft Adapter is not available. It's on, that's one thing. It's on our logo there, or we have it in the slide. It's not available. So you still have to use the EIB from PeopleSoft to integrate with PeopleSoft. So essentially you're using the SOAP adapter in OIC to do that. Next question.
Okay. The question is if you have training material available for ERP integration. Yes, that's part of our Saas integration bootcamps. You can sign up at tinyurl.com/integrate Saas, and we published all the training material at the community workspace. If you're a member, visit the workspace, otherwise register.
Yeah.
Next question for you, Neil. What's the maximum size of a file transfer to cloud from on-premises?
Okay, so the file transfer that we're looking at there using the file adapter is 10 MB. Now, using the FTP adapter, it's 1 gig. So like when we have this embedded FTP server is available in OIC, it'll get rid of any of those issues that we've had with this file adapter constraint with 10 MB. Next question.
Nice comment from Simon. The mapper looks better. What is it built in? Is it built in Oracle Jet?
Yeah, it's an Oracle Jet-based mapper. Now, the Jet-based mapper, again, is it's a feature flag, guys. So I use all of these feature flags because I like having an easier life. There it is there. It's the integration designer Jet pages, and then we've got the next generation mapper and so on. So there is a blog from Oracle, from Anthony Reynolds, which lists all of these feature flags, and you can enable them via an SR. Going forward, we will self-service enable that. So in other words, within OIC itself, you will see the feature flags that are available, and you can click and say, that one I want to try out, and you can do that immediately. So we'll bypass this SR stuff. Next question, please.
Okay. Thanks to Nick for answering many of our questions. And the next question is from Srikant. OIC can split one file into 2 different files based on record type within the file. Is that possible?
Yes, it is possible.
Okay, then how can OIC handle messages that are delivered as PGP encrypted messages? Okay,
so what you can now do, you will see this, I think it's in, okay, it's not on this one here. We now have within our FTP adapter support for PGP decryption. So you can do that through the adapter now.
Okay. Next question, how to achieve CE, CD, or OIC?
Okay, so like this is a question that we get many times. We don't provide that for you out of the box, continuous integration, continuous delivery. What we do provide you with is a rich set of REST APIs that you can use for CI/CD, and then use your favorite tool of choice, because many customers that we go to, they've already decided on Jenkins or whatever, and they've already got all of this set up, and they say, I just want to leverage my existing CI/CD pipelines and, pull in your stuff in there. So that's why we have the REST APIs. There is an Oracle partner called Flexigon who provides a user interface for this as well. So if you want to go down that path, you can use the solution from Flexigon.
Okay. Next question. Are there plans to integrate Oracle CPQ with Oracle ERP applications out of the box? If not, then are there any trainings material or integrating using OIC?
Okay, so like you can of course integrate CPQ, configure price quote with ERP today. Now, whether the ERP folks are looking at some out of the box integrations that they will provide with their product, I don't know. I must say I don't know what's being provided there, but out of the box, we can integrate with both of those products today.
Then we had plenty of questions if the sessions are recorded. Yes, we record them, and in the next community newsletter, you get the link to the recorded versions, also from all the previous webcasts. Yeah. And you can also find the links on my blog post. Next question from Nix. Can we use Java embedding on OIC?
No, you can't. You can use JavaScript embedding, but not Java embedding.
Okay. Last question, as we are hitting the time. Any limitations for bulk loading?
No, there's no limitations for bulk loading. Like essentially, like with this FTP server that we have now, we can see there's I think it's 1 terabyte of space on that, and the virtual file system in OIC is 10 gig. So like there really are, okay, if it's a humongous file, of course, there are some limitations. But of course, the idea would be to process those files, read them in chunks and whatever. Now, I see another question there. Does OIC support EDI? It does. Like our B2B component, which will be going live as well, hopefully in May, the same time as our file server and our Insight, that will provide EDIFACT support. So version 1, X12 EDIFACT support, along with a document editor. Version 2, which will be later in this calendar year, will provide trading partner management. The idea is to make it, to have the same sort of functionality that we had with Oracle B2B on-premise.
Neil, thanks for the excellent webcast. Thank you everybody for attending. If you can please go back to the call to action slide, then we once again show the link.
The call for action slide, which is here. Call for action slide is this.
58.
58, okay, good.
So thanks very much for attending. If you're not yet a member in the community and would like to get the on-demand webcast, please register tinyurl.com/oracleic. If you have more questions, you can ask them anytime in our Slack channel. And please sign up for trainings, visit our website and try the cloud platform. I would like to say thanks to Neil for the excellent presentation. Thank you for everybody attending our monthly webcast. And thank you for Stephen in the studio. Thank you and goodbye.
Thanks everybody, and best of luck with Oracle OIC. Any issues, let us know. And any wins, don't just contact us when you've got issues. Please contact us as well to tell us about your wins and about your great experiences with OIC and your happy customers. Because that's great for us as well. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.